and welcome back to my channel. My name is Helen if you don't already know me, and I'm doing the Gymshark 66 Change Your Life Challenge. I was really good at sort of filming every day. My last I suppose decent video would be my shoulder workout where on the way home I went to the chippy, which was dead good. Then on Thursday I just didn't eat much all day. Came home and had pasta, so that's not bad. And then on Friday, similarly did not eat all day. Got home from work at 4 o'clock, and then me and Ash were starving, so we ordered pizza. And then literally slept from 7 p.m. until midnight, and then we were up at 2 in the morning. And then I pretty much slept all day yesterday. I don't know how I managed it. Oh no, I went to work. And then this weekend, so it's Sunday. Yesterday I had 2 bagels for breakfast. Today I had 2 bagels for breakfast. Yeah, just when we're not food prepping, when we're not at work, I just want to eat all the beige food. But I feel like I've had, even though I've had rest days, I feel like I've had quite a good week of training. I haven't done loads, but I haven't done nothing, and I've done some mobility, and I feel pretty good, so yay. And today we're going to train legs, and I'm not really going to do / use Robin Gallant's program. I'm going to do my 3 sets of squats, and then I'm going to add in 3 sets of glute bridges, and then other than that I'm going to freestyle it, because then I can film it. So yay, I'm going to have pre-workout and go to the gym. Welcome back to another voice-overed warm-up. So my warm-up starts with these lunges that go from forwards to backwards. I did 10 on each side, and I just feel like doing single leg stuff straight away is really good because it fires up your whole central nervous system, because you have to bounce. Then I went into a side lunge, into a balance. Again, I did 10 on one side and then 10 on the other. I'm focusing on sticking my butt backwards and then squeezing my glute as I come back to the center. It is worth noting, although hopefully obvious, that this is sped up. This is 4 times the original speed, so obviously I am doing this actually much slower. From there I did 10 squats in a very narrow stance, 10 squats in a hip width stance, and then 10 squats in a sumo stance. In every single stance I'm making sure I lead with my hips first, pushing my weight into my heels and pushing my knees out. So even when I'm in the narrow stance, I'm trying to not let my knees fall in. And then on the wide one especially, I find I have to turn my toes in slightly, because I can't actually quite get my knees as wide as my toes want to go. I hope that makes sense. You want your knees to be going the same direction as your toes. This is my new favourite mobility exercise. I did it in my upper body shoulder workout the other day. It is 2 twists and a kick across. If it looks weird, you can kind of do it on the floor where you lie down and kick your leg towards your opposite hand. And then went into this sort of static squat with a lean and a reach up and all this fun stuff. I'm trying to keep my heels down and my hips really low so that I can feel a stretch down my back and in my hips as I go. Then into these plank lunges, or a runner's lunge, holding each one for 2 seconds. And again, I did 10 of these. I find these really open my hips, and I'm trying to sink a little bit lower in every single one. So after all of the dynamic movements, I go into more static movements. I go into Pigeon first, which is a really good stretch for your glutes. I'm trying to keep my hip square, but it doesn't particularly look like it on that side. So really trying to pull the left hip back and the right hip forwards in that position. I do that one. Oh, I thought I did it twice on each side. Maybe not. Okay, so I go into a hip flexor stretch there, and then an inner thigh stretch with my feet together, which looks awfully strange. Okay, moving on to the meaty part of the workout. I started with 2 warm-up sets with squats. So I did 8 reps at about 7 to 8 RP. So I chose to do 45 kilos. It is heavy enough that I have to really plant my feet and focus on pushing my knees out, like feel everything working. I'm not just repping it out, but it is light enough that it's not making me tired before my working sets. And then in between my warm-up sets, I was doing Cossack Squats, which is a big static side lunge, trying to get your hips as low as possible. This just helps me feel really loose in my hips and really loose across my inner thighs. So I feel like this just really helps my squat position, but you can completely rest in between, or you can try stretching in between, which I recommend trying. I really enjoy it. From there, I moved on to my working sets. My working sets this week were with 65 kilograms. I did 60 last week and it felt good. So 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps. When you can hit 10 reps in all 3 sets, then you can put that weight up. I'm resting for 60 seconds in between sets, really not long at all, or trying to not be long at all. When I squat, you can see from this angle, I'm really trying to push my hips backwards first. That will help me take my weight back into my heels. I don't feel like this is going to be a particularly attractive angle to see a squat from, but I filmed it from here to see if I could show you my breathing. I take a deep breath in at the top to brace, and then breathe out as I come up. During that brace, I'm also pulling the bar towards me. This puts tension in your upper back, your core, your shoulders. It just makes your torso very, very solid. So when you squat, it's your legs that are going to fail, not your core or your back. To help activate your glutes as much as possible, you have to think about them. So squats are a compound exercise. They don't target just your glutes. However, your glutes do work if you imagine you're really, really opening the hips in that bottom position, and then at the top you're tucking your hips under and closing the hips. That makes sense. Opening, extending, etc. So if you think about using your glutes, then you can really fire them up and make your squat a more glute dominant movement. That will not happen unless you are gifted, and that's kind of what works the most, or without thinking about it. So think about your angry butt at the top and see if you can think about squeezing from the bottom. Moving on to the barbell hip thrust. So I did 3 sets of 12, again with 60 seconds to 80 seconds rest in between sets. Basically enough to wipe the brow and have some water, not too long. And I'm sure you've all seen these before. So the thing that I did this time that made me feel sort of more comfortable / stronger was I put the box against a pillar so that when I pushed up for my first initial rep, I could really push back against it, and it just meant I wasn't worrying at all about it sliding back and away from me. Other tips that you already know: squeeze as hard as your blinking can at the top. From this angle, it looks like I need to bring my feet a little bit closer to me, actually. But it felt good. I felt it a lot in my glutes. I didn't really feel it in my hamstrings. But if you're finding your hamstrings activate a lot, then put your feet a little bit closer to your body. So you want a right angle in the knee joint. And then the other important tip is keeping your chin tucked in so that your hips go as high as possible, but your rib cage doesn't flare and you're not overextending your back. So therefore that extension is coming from the hips and not from the ribs. Okay, moving on to like the freestyle part of the workout. I kind of knew I wanted to do step-ups and I wanted to try them heavy. So this bar is 40 kilos, which was a little bit silly because actually throughout the whole thing I was mainly just worried that I wasn't going to be able to get it back over my head. So I think I managed 6 to 8 reps with this heavy weight. I should have gone right foot first. My left is stronger, so I was worried whatever I did with my left, I might not be able to match with my right, if that makes sense. So yeah, use your weaker side first on your step ups, so to make sure that you are even. After you have done your step ups, you're going to use the same weight and go into Romanian deadlifts. Because this weight will feel heavy for your step ups, it will probably still feel quite light for your Romanian deadlifts, which is good. So that means that you can really just focus on where you're feeling it rather than worrying about how heavy the weight feels. Your next set of step ups you are going to do with a lighter barbell. So this one for me is 30 kilos, and I was able to control it a lot more and make sure I was activating my glutes. So technique points for your step ups: push into your heels. Easy way to load your glutes is to think about loading them on the way down, so on your negative. You want to push your hips back first and then push into your heel and tuck your hips back under on your way back up. I managed 10 reps with this weight. To be honest, I think I stopped more because I was absolutely shattered sort of cardiovascular wise rather than because my legs were completely dying. So yeah, this is a workout, like, yes, it really is. So again, afterwards you're going to go into your Romanian deadlifts. Your Romanian deadlifts are all about keeping your back as straight as possible and hinging from your hips. Push your hips back and slightly bend your knees to feel a stretch in the hamstrings. The more you tilt your tailbone up, backwards and away, the more you're going to be able to activate your glutes. And I find the more I bend my knees, the more I get glutes. When you keep your knees almost straight, for me, it's very hard for me to feel it in my glutes. It's more just hamstrings. So have a play around with what feels best for you. The final step of step-ups, final set of step-ups, you are going to do as Brazilian step-ups. Ash calls them Brazilian step-ups. So it's going to be a reverse lunge into a step-up. So choose a weight that is light enough for you to get that really, really good depth. And this is a little more easy to see me pushing my hips back to load the glutes like you would a reverse lunge, and then pushing into that heel and really tucking your hips under as you come up. This to me feels very similar to like a heavy walking lunge, a single leg push down on the assisted pull-up machine, that kind of feeling. So all of your weight in your heels and loading your hips as much as you bloody can. I believe I did 12 reps, but I'll count them and make sure that that is all below. But do as many as you can on your slightly weaker leg and then match it on your stronger leg, because this is your final set here. Again, you have Romanian deadlifts with your lighter weights, the same weight as your bar. Because it is light, even better slash easier to just focus on what you are feeling. Even though this felt relatively light, I am in so much pain. You can luckily you can't really see my face, but I'm in pain. So rather than repping out fast, keep it slow, keep it controlled, focus on what you're feeling and just breathe through it. Remember, tilt from your hips and keep your weight in your heels. Really squeeze your glutes at the top and see if you can activate them from the bottom. Moving on to another superset, you are doing cable glute kickbacks superset with single leg deadlifts. For your kickbacks, you are going to do 5 full reps. This is actual speed, it's nice and slow. When you get to the top, you are going to simply squeeze slash pulse for 5 reps and then repeat 5 that are full. Oh, sorry about the traffic. Followed by 5 that pulse. So I have now sped this up, but I'm going to show you the second side as well. Hopefully you can see on my face how hard I am squeezing and how much this hurts actually. So pick a weight that you can do with good form, you can control that top point and get those pulses in there. Now your glutes both extend and externally rotate your hips. So if you feel like on the pulses your leg is turning out, then that is a good thing. From there, you're going to attach a handle to the cables and try a cable single leg deadlift. Now, I found I either kept letting the weights hit the stack, or I was kicking the cupboard behind me. So on my second set, I used a dumbbell instead of a cable. Another option is to put that back foot down. You may have done a single leg deadlift with a barbell like this. I didn't like it, to be honest, so yeah, my second set I just used a dumbbell instead. So this is set number 2. I am just going to speed through it. My hair gets caught in the cable at one point and it really bloody hurts, so I need to remember to put my hair in a bun because ow. Anyway, so on your kickbacks, slow enough that you can feel it and you're squeezing your glutes at the top and you're initiating the movement from your glutes, your 5 full and 5 pulses. Then for your single leg deadlift, you want to push your hips back first and then really push into your heel and squeeze your glutes to bring your body back upright. That is the same whether you're using a dumbbell or a cable. Hips first and squeeze your glutes to come back up. Okay, the last glute exercise, I was showing you my phone. I put a timer on for 2 minutes. I put the weight at 70 kilos and I did 5 reps. I dropped it to 65, I did 5 reps to 60, I did 5 to 55, 5, etc. And I continued that for 5 minutes. The lower the weight got, I was able to do like 6 or 7 reps, but I was still trying not to swing or not to really rush through them. This is at 4 times the speed. Focus on squeezing your glutes as hard as you can. Last week I had the absolute worst calf DOMs in the world because I did calf raises for the first time in a couple of years. So I am keeping calf raises in my program, not necessarily because I want to build them, but I just want to make sure that they are strong and efficient. I know that sounds a bit strange, but doing calf raises, you go from a full stretch to a full contraction. So they're very good to keep your muscles actually healthy and lengthened, believe it or not. So that is just 3 sets of 12. I used 60 kilos for this. Okay, so I did a 6-minute cool down to Kelly Rowland's Motivation. Actually, the song had finished, I was a bit annoyed, but put on a nice sassy song because it will make you want to stretch even more. So in your downward dog, you want to keep pulling your tailbone as high as possible and your heels towards the floor. Then in your pigeon, you're trying to get your hips as square as possible. The butt of the bent leg, you want to try and push that towards the floor as you bring the hip of the straight leg towards your foot. In a forward fold, similarly, you want your hips to go up as your heels to come down. And then in your hip flexor and quad stretch, you want to keep your hips tilted under so you're opening the hips as much as possible. A very quick foam roll. I just found a couple of points on each side and then pointed and flexed or circled my ankle to change whether the calf was in a stretched or flexed position. I then finished with another pigeon stretch, another glute stretch on each side. That is my favourite glute stretch, but if you don't want to repeat it, then you could pick another stretch instead. I then believe I go into an adductor stretch, so an inner thigh stretch, and I believe that is all. That was really good and I'm really excited about it. And now I'm gonna shower. My feet done. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah. And now I'm super brown. Yeah, 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 yeah. This is my current situation. And my cousin Ashley is sorting dinner out. So, pasta, sausage, pepper, mushrooms, yum. Yeah. So we had a very chilled Sunday night. After that we drank our 2 litres of icy squash ate our pasta and veg, which is kind of a staple meal for us now, and then we watched a movie called Hot Pursuit with Reese Witherspoon, which was really funny. I totally recommended it. And then we had a protein smoothie as a dessert. I think that's it. I don't think we had any biscuits or anything naughty like that. So Sunday was a pretty damn good day, and I'm planning lots and lots of workouts this week. So look out for some more workout videos from me, and feel free to comment abuse at me if you don't get workout videos, because I need to do them. I need to work out. Anyway, I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you've got any questions about technique for any of the exercises in the workout, then please ask questions in the comments, because I never know what is the most useful technique point when I'm doing a voiceover. So yeah, if there's anything that you want to ask about technique, then please ask, and I'm gonna shut up and bye. Okay, I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching, and stay happy and healthy, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.